The courtroom was a pressure cooker. Every single seat was taken. Reporters lined the back walls, their pens poised like daggers, ready to capture every nuance, every flicker of emotion that danced across the faces within. The air itself felt heavy, thick with anticipation and unspoken anxieties. Sunlight struggled to pierce the tall arched windows, casting long, somber shadows that seemed to deepen the already palpable tension. This was not just any trial, this was a spectacle, a public dissection of a life lived in the blinding glare of fame. The silence was a fragile thing, easily shattered. At the center of it all sat Rex Rhythm Marlowe, the music superstar. His face, usually plastered across magazine covers with an air of cool detachment, was today a mask of strained composure. He wore a tailored suit, an armor of respectability, yet his fingers drummed a silent, frantic beat on the polished mahogany table before him. His eyes, normally sparkling with a charismatic glint, darted nervously around the room, betraying an inner turmoil that no expensive fabric could conceal. The weight of the world, or at least his world, seemed to rest squarely on his shoulders, pressing down, threatening to crush him. The case revolved around accusations of slander, a bitter dispute with a former manager, now turned accuser. Millions of dollars hung in the balance, a sum that could make or break fortunes. But it was more than just money at stake here. Reputation, legacy, the very essence of Rex Marlowe's carefully constructed public persona, was on trial. Each tick of the ornate courtroom clock sounded like a hammer blow, marking the slow, agonizing passage of time leading towards an unknown, potentially devastating revelation. The whispers had been circulating for weeks, rumors of a secret that could unravel everything. The prosecuting attorney, a woman with a steely gaze and a reputation for relentless pursuit, exuded an unnerving confidence. She moved with a quiet precision, her every gesture calculated, her voice calm yet carrying an undercurrent of impending doom. She had hinted at irrefutable evidence, a piece of the puzzle that would change the entire landscape of the trial. The defense lawyers huddled, their faces grim, occasionally stealing worried glances at their client. The atmosphere was electric, charged with the promise of a storm about to break, a storm that everyone present knew could be catastrophic for the man in the spotlight. The prosecutor, Miss Evelyn Hayes, finally approached the judge's bench. Her voice, though measured, cut through the suffocating silence. "Your Honor," she began, her tone crisp and devoid of theatrics, "the prosecution would like to introduce new evidence. Evidence that we believe is pivotal to this case." A low murmur rippled through the gallery, a collective intake of breath. She held up a small, innocuous-looking digital audio recorder. It seemed so insignificant, yet it radiated an almost palpable sense of menace. The defense attorney immediately rose, his objection ready, but the judge waved him down, curiosity etched on his face. With a nod from the judge, Miss Hayes signaled her paralegal. A moment later, a sharp click echoed through the courtroom sound system. Then came a hiss of static, a brief, agonizing pause that stretched into an eternity for everyone present, most of all for Rex Marlowe. His knuckles were white as he gripped the table. Then a voice emerged from the speakers. It was undeniably Rex's, but this was not the smooth, melodic tone fans knew from his chart-topping hits. This voice was raw, unguarded, laced with an ugly, venomous anger that was utterly chilling. The words that spilled forth were shocking. They were crude, conspiratorial, and deeply incriminating. The audio captured Rex Marlowe in a moment of apparent rage, discussing strategies, making admissions that directly contradicted his sworn testimony. He spoke of manipulation, of deceit, of actions that painted him not as a victim, but as a calculating, ruthless operator. Each syllable was a nail hammered into the coffin of his public image. The courtroom was utterly still, frozen in disbelief. Even the seasoned reporters seemed stunned into silence, their pens momentarily forgotten. Rex Marlowe's face, already pale, turned ashen. His eyes, wide with a dawning horror, darted towards his lead counsel, a silent, desperate plea etched upon his features. His composure began to visibly crack. A slight tremor ran through his hands. The carefully constructed dam of his self-control was showing signs of imminent collapse. The voice on the recording continued, relentless, each word a fresh betrayal, a new layer of his private world stripped bare for all to hear. The air crackled with the unspoken question, how much worse could it get? The silence was no longer just tense, it was suffocating. The damning audio played on, each second an eternity. Rex Marlowe's voice, distorted by rage and something akin to panic on the recording, filled the room. He was heard boasting, threatening, his words painting a picture far removed from the charming philanthropist he portrayed. The contrast was jarring, sickening. His carefully cultivated image, built over years of meticulous public relations and chart success, was not just cracking, it was visibly disintegrating before the horrified eyes of the jury, the press, and his remaining devoted fans. He looked like a man watching his own ghost. He started muttering under his breath, barely audible at first. "No, that's not... It's taken out of context," he stammered, his voice a hoarse whisper, a stark contrast to the booming anger on the tape. He shook his head repeatedly as if trying to physically deny the reality of what he was hearing. His lawyers leaned in, whispering urgently, trying to calm him, to regain some semblance of control, but it was too late. The poison from the recording had seeped too deep. The star was losing his grip, the pressure becoming unbearable. Suddenly, with a guttural roar that seemed to erupt from the very depths of his being, Rex Marlowe lunged forward. "Stop it! Turn it off!" he screamed, his voice raw with fury and desperation. The sound ripped through the stunned silence of the courtroom, a primal cry of a cornered animal. He slammed his fists on the table, scattering legal documents like autumn leaves in a gale. Pandemonium erupted. Gasps and shouts filled the air. His lawyers grabbed at his arms, attempting to restrain him, their faces masks of alarm and dismay. The judge, startled from his own shock, began banging his gavel with furious intensity. "Order! Order in the court!" he bellowed, his voice struggling to cut through the sudden din. Court officers moved swiftly towards the defense table. Reporters surged forward, their cameras flashing incessantly, capturing the dramatic unraveling of a superstar. The scene descended into pure chaos, the controlled environment of the courtroom shattered by the raw, unfiltered emotion of a man pushed beyond his breaking point. The music star's carefully managed world had just imploded. Rex Marlowe was eventually wrestled back into his seat, his chest heaving, his face a contorted mask of rage, disbelief, and utter despair. The expensive suit was now rumpled, his tie askew, mirroring the disarray of his public and private life. Tears streamed down his cheeks, mingling with sweat, carving paths through his carefully applied television makeup. The mask was well and truly gone, revealing the raw, vulnerable, and perhaps deeply flawed human beneath the veneer of superstardom. He looked broken, a fallen idol amidst the wreckage of his own making. The audio recording had been abruptly silenced amidst the melee, but its damning contents hung heavy in the air, an invisible shroud over the courtroom. The words once spoken in secret now echoed in the minds of everyone present. They were undeniable, seared into the collective memory of the trial. Miss Hayes, the prosecuting attorney, stood calmly amidst the receding chaos, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on her lips. Her bombshell had not just landed, it had detonated with spectacular, devastating effect. The defense team looked shell-shocked, their strategy in tatters. The judge, his face grim, finally managed to restore a semblance of order after several tense minutes. His voice, when he spoke, was laced with stern disapproval. "This court will take a recess," he announced, his gaze sweeping over the stunned faces. "We will reconvene when decorum can be assured." The room slowly began to empty, but the shock waves of Rex Marlowe's outburst and the damning audio lingered. What had been on that tape? The snippets heard were scandalous enough, but what else did it contain? The whispers started almost immediately, speculation running rampant. The trial, which had already been a media sensation, was now catapulted into a new realm of public fascination and scrutiny. The leaked audio was just the beginning, it seemed. What other secrets were yet to be unearthed? How much more of Rex Marlowe's private life would be laid bare for public consumption? The questions hung heavy, promising more revelations, more drama. As the courtroom doors closed, one thing was certain. The chaos was far from over. The world held its breath, waiting for the next act in this very public downfall.
शहजादी और सूफी बहुत पुराने ज़माने की बात है, जब हिंदुस्तान के एक छोटे से सल्तनत में शहजादी मेहरुनिसा का डंका बजता था। वह सिर्फ खूबसूरत ही नहीं, बल्कि अक्लमंद और नरमदिल भी थी। उसके शौक सबसे अलग थे। जब दूसरी शहजादियां गहने और पोशाकें पसंद करती थी, मेहरुनिसा किताबें और हिकमत की बातें समझने में ज्यादा दिलचस्पी लेती थी। उसी सल्तनत के एक कोने में एक बुजुर्ग सूफी रहते थे, जिनका नाम बाबा जुनैद था। उनका दरवेशाना अंदाज और इल्मी गुफ्तगू दूर दूर तक मशहूर थी। कहते हैं, उनके पास जाने वाला हर शख्स सुकून और इल्म का चिराग लेकर वापस आता। एक दिन मेहरुनिसा ने फैसला किया कि वह भी बाबा जुनैद से मिलना चाहती है, पर एक शहजादी का यूं आम लोगों के बीच जाना मुमकिन न था। इसलिए वह एक सादगी भरी चादर ओढ़कर एक आम लड़की की तरह उनके डेरे पर जा पहुंची। जब मेहरुनिसा बाबा जुनैद के सामने बैठी, तो उन्होंने पूछा, "बेटी, तुम क्या ढूंढने आई हो?" मेहरुनिसा ने कहा, "मैं असली दौलत ढूंढने आई हूँ।" बाबा जुनैद मुस्कुराए और एक छोटी सी कहानी सुनाई। एक बार एक बादशाह ने अपने वजीर से कहा, "मुझे एक ऐसी चीज लाकर दो जो गम में सुकून दे और खुशी में होशियार बना दे।" वजीर बहुत सोचने के बाद एक छोटी सी अंगूठी लेकर आया, जिसमें लिखा था, "यह वक्त भी गुजर जाएगा।" मेहरुनिसा ने यह सुना और गहरी सोच में पड़ गई। बाबा जुनैद ने आगे कहा, "बेटी, असली दौलत न सोना है, न ताज। असली दौलत सब्र और अक्ल है, जो इंसान को हर हाल में मजबूत रखती है।" शहजादी को उस दिन समझ आया कि असली ताकत न तो सत्ता में है और न ही धन दौलत में, बल्कि इल्म और सब्र में है।
आज हम लोगों के लिए शेयर कर रहे हैं कि कितना ये प्यारा दरख्त है। है ये, इसके ऊपर यहाँ पे ये फूल लगते हैं, यहाँ पे फूल लगते हैं और वो बहुत ही प्यारे फूल होते हैं, जिनसे आपके घर में या आपका जो है डेरा है, बैठक है, जो भी है, वहाँ पे बहुत ही रोमांटिक सीन हो सकता है और बहुत ही जबरदस्त एक व्यू हो सकता है। तो आपसे मैं ये रिकमेंड करूँगा कि आपने ऐसे दरख्त लगाने, ऐसे फूल लगाने और इनकी देखभाल करनी है, इनको डेली पानी देना है और इसमें डेली बेस पे इनमें जो खाद दिया आपने वो खाद देनी है और इनकी सफाई बिल्कुल जबरदस्त करके रखनी है। ये देखिए हमने भी इसकी सफाई नहीं की क्योंकि ये काफी दिनों से यहाँ पे बारिश हुई है, बारिश की वजह से हमने इसकी सफाई नहीं की, तो अभी हम इसकी सफाई कर लेते हैं। चले आपके सामने तो फ्रेंड्स क्या कहते हैं आप? कैसा लगा आपको हमारी एक कैसा लगा। अगर आपको हमारे चैनल पसंद है, अच्छा लगता है, तो आप हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब और वीडियो को लाइक लाजमी कीजिए ताकि हमारी सपोर्ट हो सके। Thank you so much. तो नेक्स्ट वीडियो में आपसे एक और दरख्त के बारे